Well, it's official. I can do a follow-up vlog on the subject. Remember that Arizona couple who drank fish tank cleaner, allegedly influenced by Trump's talk of a drug to treat the My Sharona Cyrus called hydroxychloroquine? Well, it turns out homicide detectives are investigating, and my prediction, charges are going to be filed against the only remaining party. Viva Frei, Montreal litigator turned YouTuber, another car vlog, another sleeping kid in the back. We'll see how long this lasts. Now, I imagine everyone watching this vlog is already very familiar with the situation, but just in case you're one of the few people who isn't, about 6 weeks ago, there was a story that made its rounds on mainstream media of an Arizona couple who allegedly ingested fish tank cleaner because they were under the impression that it contained one of the drugs that Trump had touted might be able to treat the My Sharona Cyrus called hydroxychloroquine. The media ran with the story, apparently doing minimal vetting, probably influenced by the fact that they felt they could pin this death on Donald Trump. In one of my previous vlogs, which had a thumbnail called Media Madness, I commented on how the media is in fact oftentimes responsible for creating the situation as opposed to simply reporting on a situation that already exists. I quoted the wise words of David Mamet that every fear hides a wish. Media outlets running these stories, what if people actually consume fish tank cleaner thinking it contains this drug to fight the My Sharona Cyrus? Every fear hides a wish. On March 20th, the Daily Mail ran such a story. On March 23rd, they ran a story about an Arizona couple that allegedly consumed fish tank cleaner and one of them died. And in my vlog where I was critical of the madness that the media had created around the mischaracterization of what Trump said as relates to disinfectant and bleaches, I cited this example as the example people might cite to show that people can be influenced by what the president says. In order to support an interpretation that people are tacitly admitting is an unreasonable interpretation of what Donald Trump said, people might cite that Arizona couple who drank fish tank cleaner in order to kill the My Sharona Cyrus. And because the aggregate knowledge of the internet is greater than any one individual, I immediately began noticing in the comment section comments to the effect that, whoa, there's a lot more to that story than meets the eye. People telling me I had to go watch Steven Crowder's bit, and in his bit he apparently did a little digging and found out that the wife was apparently charged with domestic abuse in the early 2000s. Apparently the wife might have been pursuing a divorce, the husband was a mechanical engineer, so probably not someone silly enough to drink fish tank cleaner to treat a My Sharona Cyrus that he doesn't even have. And a lot of people were coming to the conclusion that this might not actually have been the accident that the wife claimed it was to the news outlets when she gave interviews. There's an old expression that rumors are like feathers in a pillow. Once they get out, it's very difficult to get them back in. I am comfortable breaking down the news. I'm comfortable reading through legal proceedings specifying that the allegations in legal proceedings are just that, allegations and not proven fact. But I am not comfortable commenting on and spreading unsubstantiated information even if I happen to think it myself. But I've got to tell you, when I read an article about two full-grown adults who have made it all the way through life and apparently made it through life relatively well, consuming fish tank cleaner to fight off a My Sharona Cyrus that they don't even have, and one of them dies, flags start to go off. Say what you will, call me whatever names you want. Flags go off because I have a brain, it's a critical brain, and when I smell something that smells fishy, I smell something that smells fishy. And lo and behold, 6 weeks later, it looks like homicide detectives are investigating the situation. Washington Examiner, homicide detectives investigating death of Arizona man who ingested fish tank cleaner. Mesa homicide detectives are investigating the death of an Arizona man who ingested a cocktail of fish tank cleaner and soda allegedly served to him by his wife.
Honey,
Yes?
why do you always have to talk?
Tell you what, I'm gonna bring you in the house, we'll watch The Simpsons.
Don't give Mom any ideas.
The man, Gary Linnaeus, was painted as a victim of President Trump by some in the media after the president touted the potential benefits of chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine to treat the My Sharona Cyrus, the Washington Free Beacon reported Tuesday. Linnaeus died in March and his wife, Wanda, claimed they both drank fish tank cleaner, which contains chloroquine phosphate, after hearing Trump promote the anti-malarial drug hydroxychloroquine. Early reports on the death linked the incident to the president by failing to make prominent and clear that the couple drank cleaning products rather than the medication. Friends of Gary Linnaeus, however, told the publication that he was a sensible man who potentially had marital problems. What bothers me about this is that Gary was a very intelligent man, a retired mechanical engineer who designed systems for John Deere in Waterloo, Iowa, and I really can't see the scenario where Gary would say, yes, please, I would love to drink some of that koi fish tank cleaner, a friend said. It just doesn't make any sense. A spokesman for the Mesa City Police Department told the outlet after publication that it is, quote, normal protocol for the homicide department to investigate, quote, all death cases other than than obvious natural causes. The representative added that the death in this case, quote, has not been ruled a homicide at this time. Wanda Linneus previously told the Washington Free Beacon she and her husband, quote, weren't big supporters of Trump, and campaign finance records show she donated thousands to Democratic causes. It hasn't been ruled a homicide at this time. Here's my prediction. The check is in the mail. Now, the purpose of this vlog is not to make predictions so that in a year's time I can go back and make a highlight reel of all of my predictions and how they came true, although you know I will do that. It's not Fake News Friday. The purpose of this vlog is not to pick on the media, although I am going to do that. The purpose of this vlog is to conduct the mental exercise that every attorney has to carry out when entering a new file, but we are going to use this example to illustrate what that process is. But first, I'm going to pick on the media, and today I'm picking on the Daily Mail, so don't anyone accuse me of only picking left-wing media outlets. Now, first things first, because I loathe making mistakes, especially on material points, I needed to be sure of the timeline here. Was it the media that brought the fish tank cleaner to the public's attention, or was it the Arizona couple that brought the fish tank cleaner to the media? And because the aggregate knowledge of the internet is greater than any one individual, I turned to Twitter to see if anybody could pull up any information. And lo and behold, there seems to have been an article published on March 20th in the Daily Mail before the Arizona incident linking the fish tank cleaner to Trump's comments. Fish tank treatment uses the same chemical in the drug Trump claims could be a, quote, game changer for treating My Sharona Cyrus despite zero proof, and prices for it have surged to $500. Every fear hides a wish. Here we have the fear. Let's get to the wish. Published 24 March 2020. My husband and I tried to take Trump's My Sharona Cyrus drug. Now he is dead. Wife speaks out after they drank fish tank cleaner chloroquine because they mistook it for unproven treatment hydroxychloroquine. Translation, couple acts on our headline from 4 days ago. And what a difference a month makes. Published 29 April 2020. Homicide detectives investigate death of Arizona man whose wife, quote, mixed them both a spoonful of fish tank cleaner after mistaking it for drug Trump called miracle My Sharona Cyrus treatment, but police say it's just protocol. The media basically did exactly what every bad lawyer out there does. They take their client's story for gospel and they don't challenge it in the slightest. And this really does perfectly highlight the distinction between being biased and having a position. A lot of people tend to think that lawyers are biased by definition in that they represent the interests of their client. But there is a fundamental and material difference between representing someone's interests and being biased. Even when you represent someone's interests, you still have to challenge them. When you are biased, you don't bother challenging them. You don't bother challenging them because what they're telling you fits the story that you already have in your head. This news story fit the media narrative so perfectly that outlets essentially forgot to ask basic questions. They abandoned all critical thinking and basically ran with the story as though the story they were being told was the gospel. And they did this notwithstanding glaring inconsistencies, or at least information which should have raised a few red flags. It turns out that the surviving spouse was by no means a Trump supporter, that she donated thousands of dollars to Democratic causes, and that apparently on Facebook she referred to Donald Trump as your psycho prez. Notwithstanding all of this, she decided to rely so heavily on what she understood Trump to have said that she went into her pantry and fed her husband fish tank cleaner. And as relates to the prima facie implausibility of the story that Wanda brought to the media, she is reported to have said the following. I was in the pantry and I saw it sitting on the back shelf and I said, hey, isn't that the stuff they were talking about on TV? I don't care if this is my only client and if I lose them, I go bankrupt. I am asking my client a few more questions after they say something like this. But right now, I am viewing Wanda not as though she is my client, but as though she is the opposing party whom I am getting ready to cross-examine. But you know what the ultimate irony is in all of this? I would have asked her the same questions regardless. And these are the questions that the investigators are going to be asking, and I am going to make some predictions as to what they are going to find. Wanda went to the media with the statement that she was allegedly in the pantry and noticed the fish tank cleaner on the back shelf and said, hey, this is what Trump was talking about, let's take it. All right, Wanda, not that I don't believe you, but I would like to ask you for communication of all of your bank statements, financial statements, credit card statements, everything for the last month to see if possibly you actually purchased that fish tank cleaner after March 20th. Because I've got to tell you, if it turns out the purchase of this fish tank cleaner was in fact a recent purchase, notwithstanding the statement that she made to the media, Wanda's got some explaining to do. You know what else is going to happen? They are going to go through Wanda's search history on the internet. And you know what they might very well find in that search history? I would venture to say probably a lot of research on toxicity and doses. Another thing but directly related to this, I would be curious to know what doses she and her husband consumed. If I'm a gambling man, I would put my money on they did not have the same doses, in which case I would be petitioning the hospitals for the medical records as relates to both of them. If this is a lawsuit and Wanda is the opposing party, I am asking for communication of all of this stuff. Financial records, bank records, credit card statements, computers, cell phones. I want to see the search history on her computers. I want to see the text messages on her phone. Because if this is going to go where I suspect it's going to go, we're going to get a lot of information there. Now, although this is not a lawsuit, homicide detectives are investigating and they are going to be going after this exact same information. And I'm predicting it now based on the implausibility of the story even as initially reported and given the contradictions that have since come out as a result of the reporting of the Washington Free Beacon and Steven Crowder. I am predicting that the investigators are going to find multiple smoking guns. Nothing in this story made sense from day one, and you don't have to be a cynical litigator to appreciate that. You don't have to be a cynical litigator to ask the common sense questions that a responsible media ought to have asked before running with the story. And this perfectly illustrates the toxic media environment in which we live, pun intended. The media initially creates the frenzy in the first place. When something does end up happening, and because it fits the narrative so perfectly, they just turn a blind eye and shut off all common sense and create another frenzy. And once the frenzy subsides and the critical thinkers ask the questions that a responsible media ought to have asked from the get-go, they, then have to run the other story. Homicide detectives are now investigating the woman who fed her husband fish tank cleaner. This might not actually be in any way attributable to anything Donald Trump said. This might just be straight out murder. And if I'm a betting man, I'm suspecting that the follow-up stories are not going to get anywhere near the frenzy that the initial story got. That is the vlog. I hope I've shed some insight into how a responsible attorney ought to attack every question that they are faced with. If you like my videos and you like my content, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below because it feeds the algorithm. If you want to support the channel, the support links are in the pinned comment. Let me know what your predictions are, but above all else, stay safe, stay healthy, and now you know your vlog. Peace out. Booyah!